This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you Year End Series exclusive interview with Atul Kumar Tiwari, Secretary, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship on workforce empowerment through skill development initiatives. The interviewer is Gaura Dhawanlal, AIR correspondent.
Entrepreneurship, job creation, Make in India, these are all primary thrusts of the government, and the Department of Skill Development schemes play a vital and a very important role. Atulji, what has been the progress, particularly in the last couple of years?
For the last 1 year, there was COVID and it has affected other sectors, our sector as well, and we wanted to start coming out of that. So I would like to cite 2-3 fundamental things which we have done within the ministry. One is working with the Education Ministry so that we have able to work on National Credit Framework and Skill Hub Pilot. The National Credit Framework allows students, if they work in education or skilling, to get credits so that they can move ahead either for further skilling or higher education. And the Skill Hub Pilot was also quite a change because first time we had our skilling schemes in the schools and colleges and other such centers or other ministries. On the IT side, we were able to have the examinations and the results of all the 14,000 ITIs all over India, and we also started having their accreditation and affiliation online. On the digital skilling side, we have our Skill India digital portal has been finalized. We have already done alpha and beta launch, and the good thing about it is that this will allow skilling on demand and it will make the skilling more citizen-centric. On the Bharat Skills and e-skills also, we have done 597 e-books and so many question banks have been put out online, so the students, they can access these and equip themselves or skill themselves as they wish. We also have focused on new age skills and employability skills. In fact, the ITI courses, which we call the Craftsman Training Scheme, we have rationalized all of them and brought them in alignment with the National Credit Framework. We have removed the redundant parts. We have added the new parts. We have added some new age skills. We have added employability skills. In fact, we have reduced the number of examination as well. So there has been a sea change in the way the long-term training under the ITI takes place. We have also focused on the international skill mobility in the light of Honorable Prime Minister's vision that India should be the skill capital of the world. And for that, we had this skill gap study with 16 countries. We have also launched a Skill India International, one other subsidiary of National Skill Development Corporation. Recently, we had a virtual skill summit with our ambassadors and high commissioners for 10 countries. We are in a better position. We know where are the opportunities and how we can access them with the help of our Indian missions. We had done apprenticeship and Rozgar Melas, and we have the focus programs, which last year was COVID crash course under PMKY, in which 1 lakh youth were skilled under the health-related job roles so that they could be employed in the hospitals. There have been drone courses. We have done focus programs for street food vendors, transgenders, NDMC workers. We have also done with the Yuva, with the Delhi police and the tribal community in Jharkhand. We have done skilling for Safai Karmcharis, for the beggar community in Bhor project in Rajasthan. We have also done Golden Grass project. And the best part was that we have tried to bring synergies between the short-term and long-term training. And we also have an organization called NISBERT. And through that also we have emphasized on the entrepreneurship development programs and the training of trainers. We have opened around 75 new Jan Shikshan Sanstans. So in short, you can see that one has been the working on the fundamentals, which is with the education, credit framework, curriculum framework, using permanent infrastructures for training. Another has been the digital skilling. Third thing has been the new way the skilling has to take place. And then there has been some kind of introspection, I would say, in which we have gone, what is that we teach, how to bring them more in sync with the modern times.
Right. We earlier spoke about, changing the curriculum and bringing in new subjects. There is also one level of training which is required because a lot of training depends on delivery. So there is something for training the trainers also, because how is this curriculum going to be developed?
If you see the numbers, and India, you see anywhere the numbers are in large number. So if we were to scale so many people, then we require a lot of trainers. And so far, we have been depending it upon the sector skill councils to provide the trainers and their assessment, etc. Now we are going ahead and having our own scheme of the training of the trainers, in which will involve not only the skills sector council, the sector people who have already been trained, retrain them and reorient them in a way. We would also welcome industries to come forward and become partners, and so that we can also skill them, so that the total number of the skilled people, their services can be availed as a trainers, and which can be posted, onboarded on the Skill India digital portal, so that anybody interested in that sector will be able to avail their services. That is on the way. Here also will we work very closely under the able guidance of Honorable Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, who is also the Education Minister. So we have been discussing quite a lot with the Higher Education Ministry and School Education. How do we bring their diets and other upskilling part of their teachers also in the line, particularly with the AICT, their engineering colleges, and such institutions where we have a ready stock of trained people who can be reoriented for some amount of pedagogy and delivery in the skilling centers.
Atulji, wanting now to move on to the PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. 4.0 is getting ready to launch. What is the scope? What are some targets? And is it any different? Have we learned something from 3.0 and brought those changes in?
The Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is the flagship scheme of the ministry, and this is the short-term training, meaning less than 6 months skilling and job roles, etc., which is being done through the different training providers. Now, this is the 4th version. So we had much to learn by the way the training has been organized so far. And this is basically meant for either the fresh skilling or for the school and college dropouts and unemployed youth. And we also have there 3 levels. One is the short-term training, then another level is recognition of prior learning. And then we have special projects to address skilling requirements of vulnerable groups. We allow them certain flexibility in conducting a short-term training based on the requirement. Now, we have done a lot of changes in the 4.0 as compared to earlier version. We have done 3 fundamental things. One, we are launching a totally fresh Skill India Digital, so that there we have the citizen-centric or the person-centric. For example, if you are a candidate, you say, I want to skill myself. So where do I go? So if you give your queries, etc., then there is some amount of counseling. If you have studied this level or in this area, these are the courses available. And it's not only with the schemes run by the PMKY, but other schemes by other ministries as well. So first is the candidate focus. Second is the greater reliance on technology. For example, registration, counseling, follow-up, even the assessment, etc., as far as possible, or the online delivery of the courses to some extent. So there is a technology dependence also. And assessment also will be done in a much more decentralized manner. And then we are also allowing industries to come ahead and have their skin in the game, as they call it. We are talking to them and rationalizing the short-term training courses. And again, as we said about the ITI, CTS courses, so here also we have rationalized, we have added employability skills in all parts, digital skills in all parts. And then very important part which we are doing is that on-the-job training has been made as an integral component, so that the candidate, after going for the skilling, will have on-the-line experience. We are also going to have a very special emphasis on the informal and traditional sectors. So these are some of the changes when we do that. So we'll find that if you have a more industrial partnership, things are more open and things are more on demand, and linking it with the industry's requirement of what kind of skilling is required, where it is required, for what duration.
Coming now to women empowerment, and I think a lot of efforts are being made, increasing urbanization, the need across financial demographics for double income households, women becoming self-sufficient. It's always been a focus of this government. And you have, the ministry has made special efforts in this area. Could you please elaborate on some?
And in fact, if you read the newspapers, just recently, Honorable Finance Minister also in the Parliament had said that we require intertime reappropriation of the bill. He has also stated that the gender budgeting is very much required. And this is an overline process which is being monitored by the Ministry of Finance. But other than that, we have done quite a few things about the empowered women. For example, even within the ministry itself and the ITIs, with the Sports and Physical Education, Fitness and Skill Council, we have given My Safety, My Responsibility program. Around 10,000 working women and ITI girls students are to be given training for self-defense. And so far, 5,000 women have been trained, skilled, in 35 different ministries and ITIs. And this will continue further. So the most primary thing is that how do we create a safe environment for women? Then only the women can form forward of their houses. So that is one. Even in the ministry, etc., under the capacity building, we are doing the UN Women Gender Sensitization POSH workshops. It's a 16 days module, and we made it compulsory for all the people to undergo this. We have around more than 50% under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. The youth they are women. Under Jan Shikshan Sansthan, more than 85% are women. We have 33 national skill training institutes where we give skilling for the trainers, and 19 are only for the women. And we'll find it so delightful that when you go and visit the ITIs, you'll find that women are taking up hard skills like plumbing, welding, automotive. In fact, in the World Skills Contest, one woman also went in the plumbing. Our scheme also provides special reference to the women, and whatever the vertical we have, whether it is Jan Shikshan Sansthan or PMKY or ITIs, we are having special place for the women so that they also come forward and get themselves skilled. But yes, there is a need to take them further to the non-traditional livelihoods.
You've raised a fair number of critical points, wanting to focus on one of them, and you said skill harmonizing across countries, bringing me to the next question, that we have a lot of scale coming in. We are going across the country, across diversities, now moving on to planning for other countries also. But how do we bring in to the scale some soul, to width some depth? How will we be monitoring quality, international standards? What are our benchmarks?
The benchmarks would be, there are two parts of the deal. One is that what is that needs to be taught. So there is a harmonization and skilling qualification framework. So suppose I want this skilling to be done. So what we teach and what they require, whether they are similar or not. So that is point number one, most fundamental. And we have engaged with 5-6 countries already like Japan, UAE, Saudi Arabia. Certain job roles, we have harmonized that. Second is the certification. So if I am getting the training done in India, I should be in a position to get it certified across that country. So that is the second point. But the third and most important point, which you have highlighted, is what is the quality of the trade skilling. And because on that would depend eventually everything. So for that, we have a monitoring mechanism, ABAS system of attendance. We have the videography of the skilling classes going on. We have the online digital blended learning. We have online system examination. We have independent assessment system. And we have a third-party follow-up also. So if we combine all these things together, we say that India will emerge as the quality skill capital of India, unlike our neighboring countries, where they go for the low end of the skilling, we'll go for the high end of the skilling. And in fact, with our higher educations and IITs and other things, India is emerging as the source for a dependable, quality-conscious and law-abiding workforce in the world.
Currently, India is holding the G20 presidency. Any special plans the ministry has during this tenure?
As rightly advised by Honorable Prime Minister, it is one area where India can showcase its true status to the world. And so far, if you remember, we have been taken lightly by the other countries, and a lot of misgivings are also there about India. So this is one time, we showcase what India has to offer to the world in terms of the world guru. Second point is that we also need to embed certain of the concern, which will be very important for us in the coming years for India in the various deliberations. And third thing is, of course, we being the host country, we have to be extremely hospitable and provide all kinds of assistance to the different delegates. Ministry of Skill Development, we are implicated in two tracks. One is with the Ministry of Labour and Employment on the employment track, and second on the Ministry of Education on the education track. So on the employment track, we are developing a framework for assessment of skill gaps across 20 nations. And second, what should we do to harmonize the qualifications across these countries? So as you remember, overseas Indians are one of the largest in the world. Last year we got $100 billion as part of remittances, and we have quite a surplus skilled workforce which can be very well utilized outside India. And the thing which is coming in the way, other than the visa regimes, etc., is the skill harmonization. So if we embed this point in the G20 discussions, in the coming years we'll find these opportunities opening up. And we also are in the part of the education line, and there we are working on how do we build capacities and promoting lifelong learning in the context of the future of the work. And here also India has a competitive advantage in terms of our digital stack, our digital learning method, our use of English languages and such things, and the new job roles which are opening, how can equip ourselves, give them skilling, so they also have a scope to work in the other countries.
Shri Atul Kumar Tiwari, thank you so much for your insight and for your sharings.
Thank you.
You were listening to EIND series exclusive interview with Atul Kumar Tiwari, Secretary, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, on workforce empowerment through skill development initiatives. The interviewer was Gaura Dhawanlal, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.